everybody, it is 8:05 a.m. and I am rolling down interstate. Girl, I don't know. I'm on the way to the courthouse because Bam has court today. Now, very interesting because Bam had court Monday, and I didn't tell y'all this because I'm not posting this till after it's all said and done, but it was a whole fiasco because on Monday I showed up to the courthouse and, you know, Bam had court, and guess who didn't show up? The prosecutor who was there to try the case. Guess who else didn't show up? Any of the witnesses. Who were the witnesses? April Margera, Jess Margera, the ones who allegedly had terror threats. Anyway, so the lawyers were kind of like, Bam's lawyers were kind of like, okay, Your Honor, like, if these people ain't even going to bother to show up, can we dismiss this? And the judge was kind of like, he was honestly, y'all, I got to give them credit at the courthouse in Westchester. They're very nice. They're very professional. And from what I've seen with my eyes, fair. The judge was like, I understand what you're saying, and I understand that your client is doing better and all of that. But because some of these charges are literally terroristic threats, he was kind of like, you know, my hands are tied. I can't just go out willy-nilly dismissing the prosecutor's case.
In 500 feet, take exit 328A on the right onto US 202 South toward Westchester. Then take the US 202 South ramp on the left.
Anyway,
now take exit 328A on the right.
I don't think there's anything I hate more than being hollered at by a robot. I think that's my number one pet peeve right now.
Now take the US 202 South ramp on the left.
Let me make sure the robot don't have nothing else to say. Okay, anyway, so Bam's lawyers were like, okay, well, you know, our client has stuff to do. Like, it's pretty disrespectful that the prosecutor didn't even bother showing up. I mean, I'm paraphrasing here or whatever. But there was a little back and forth over whether or not the judge could just dismiss the case. And pretty much the judge was like, no. But my courtroom is open and free all week. So any day this week, y'all want to come back for this trial, we need to work it out with the prosecutor, but let's make it happen.
Action News spoke exclusively with former reality TV star Brandon Bam Margera just ahead of his trial. It's later this week.
Pretty much said yes to every job to pay for a lot of custody battles and treatment center fees. I spent a lot of time not being productive at all, and I don't want to live that life anymore.
Well, the trial was supposed to start today, but is now expected to begin on Wednesday.
So it's today. But something I heard him talking about in the hallway was Jess, Krusty Lynn Spears Margera, and April are not cooperating with the prosecution. Now, this is weird and interesting because why? Because they're the ones allegedly that called and reported this to the police, and they wouldn't even show up to be witnesses, and they're allegedly the victims. So, as I've always said, if Bam committed a crime, or if he commits a crime in the future, he should be dealt with accordingly. But the crime he allegedly so-called committed in this instance was getting in a physical altercation with his brother, among other things. But, I mean, we've been watching them get in physical altercations with each other for, what, 30 years or something? So, to me, it's kind of like a little bit just Jess Margera maybe just trying to stay in Castle Bam and put his brother away for a while. I don't really know. I don't know if they're in touch or not, but I did see Bam on Monday. He looked great. We embraced. It was wonderful. Love him. He said hello to us, thanked us for coming, was very happy we were there. We are on the way to the courthouse right now because allegedly there's going to be a trial today. So the question is April going to show up? Is Jess going to show up? Maybe they will, but maybe they won't. And if they don't, then it's going to make it very difficult for the judge to convict Bam with anything. Now, I did hear the judge making some type of statements and comments about a possible plea deal, which I think is stupid. If there's no witnesses there and there's nobody that's even going to testify to anything happening, I don't think that Bam should take a plea deal. And I think if his lawyers advise him to do that, I'm going to become very suspicious of them. So far, I mean, the lawyers have seemed pleasant and fine, but I mean, we'll see. Like I said, it's 8:10 a.m. right now. I think that the case is supposed to be heard at 9 o'clock. I forgot to call yesterday. There was a lot going on yesterday. Actually, I had court for myself yesterday, and it was a huge victory. So I do want to update y'all on that as well. Maybe there will be a video about that coming next. Who knows? I mean, I have a lot of stuff going on right now. So I'll let y'all know as we go. I don't know when I'll be able to check back in. It might be literally after court date. But what I predict is going to happen is I could be wrong. You know, I've been wrong about things. But I think it's going to be, the witnesses are not going to show up, meaning Krusty Lynn and his mama are not going to show up, the commander of the Margera family. And I think it's going to be difficult in that case to make a case at all whatsoever. Bam might agree to some type of ankle bracelet situation, but I don't think he should. But if he wants to, I mean, it's his choice. It's always been his choice, like I've said. But I think that in general, the TLDR, I think the charges will be dropped today. I think it'll be over today. And I mean, maybe, I don't know, girl, maybe the witnesses will show up, Bam will get arrested. I don't know, hopefully not. This has been hanging over Bam's head, I know, for the whole entire year. It's been a year since this, over a year, 13 months. So hopefully it's just gonna be over today, and I'm gonna be able to go home and record my song called I Don't Work For You. And here's my outfit of the day. I'm sitting in the back of the courtroom. I'm wearing a pink anarkali that I got from India in Chandi Chowk in Delhi, the old Delhi part. And I'm wearing a pastel pulkari that also is from India. That one's from Amritsar near the Golden Temple. I'm feeling good. I can't say that I'm surprised. It's pretty typical, especially considering the nature of the original charges. I think the issue was that the prosecutors were not able to get the witnesses to actually testify to the robbery. I do think that played a big role about it. And for this judge in particular, it does seem like he understands that is a big part of what's going on. The judge did seem to appreciate that Bam had cooperated with that, explaining court documents to people. And the free Britney movement kind of fizzled out, and I had been actually accosted by Britney's business manager at my job. Okay, so I guess Bam's kind of free. I had to do an outfit change because I had to shoot a music video real quick about a song that I just wrote real quick about somebody that called me white trash. So I had to put on my obvious white trash outfit because I am white trash, like duh. Anyway, so someone called me white trash. I had to do a music video real quick, so I had to change my outfit. I'll tell y'all more when I'm in the car. Bye. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so we had to pick up some boxes. Bam originally was charged with, I think, 4 counts of threats against his brother and his mom. And then he was also charged with some other stuff too, like assault, disorderly conduct, I don't know, some other stuff. Disorderly conduct, something. The prosecution, I mean, this is a criminal trial. It was a criminal case. It wasn't like, oh, you know, Jess Margera sued. No, this is a criminal case. So it was the prosecutor, it was the state. The state has to prove their case. In order to prove your case, you need a witness who witnessed the alleged crime that happened. And it didn't look like the witnesses were cooperating was the problem. Like, for example, Jess Margera didn't show up to court on Monday and did not show up to court on today, which is Wednesday. Now, I had a whole side note of another court date for myself yesterday, which I won, and I'm going to be giving y'all a video on that soon, but still kind of processing the victory. Praise be. I don't lose, haven't lost one so far. Anyway, that's not what today's hearing was about. It's about Bam. So when I get in there, it's like close to 9 o'clock or whatever. There's a few news reporters and things in there, and pretty much that's it. Bam eventually does show up with his lawyers and comes in. Then they call Bam's case up. The prosecutor's not there, which I'm noticing is becoming a theme. If y'all want to sue somebody, why don't you be in court whenever the judge calls you up? Anyway, so they had to go fetch the prosecutor down the hall, and they did eventually. But all the while, I'm hearing all these kind of side conversations going on about possible ankle monitors and possible plea, this, that. I can't really fully hear, and the judge has a full docket. You know, he has probably at least 3-4 other cases that he saw just today that I saw him see. So like maybe they're not talking about Bam. Well, It was a fiasco, y'all. I was in that court for hours. And, I was expecting Lima to show up.
Right here, beautiful.
She didn't show up. Jess didn't show up, which I think honestly was probably for the best, because I think that they really were just trying to set him up with these charges anyway, just trying to set Bam up anyway. So then there was this break so that I guess the prosecutor could get his stuff together. They had to all agree on stuff. Bam and his lawyers and their lawyers. And it's like, I don't really understand why there was anything to agree on. You don't have a case. You don't have a witness, you don't have a case. Well, the judge called a break. And during the break, I didn't get up. I wanted to stay in my seat for reasons I'll tell y'all about later. But I didn't get up and leave. I stayed in my seat. Well, during this break, I was the only person that stayed in. And guess who doesn't come rolling in from the back door? Phil Margera. And accompanied by the family commander, April Cole, or whatever her name is. So they roll in, and then it's like, so maybe the prosecutors were able to, lure them in. Never did see Jess. He must have stayed home and tweeted from his burner accounts that tweet about me all day. But he never showed up. But the prosecutors ended up, long story short, they ended up dropping some of the charges and reducing some of the allegations or whatever to, I don't even exactly know. I mean, he said the code, but it was something like, saying something in a threatening way toward your brother. And I thought it was interesting that the only one that left standing was the one toward the brother, but the brother was the one too chicken shit to show his face in court, which again, I think was for the best. And I think that was the best thing that he could have done, because he knows that it was wrong to even do this in the first place. Tweeting about Bam across the country and talking about somebody gave him MET. I mean, I remember. I won't forget. No, I won't. So all that happened, and it did appear, like Bam was okay with it. So he went up to the front, and the judge did read off the alleged facts. And the alleged facts were like, you behaved in a threatening way toward your brother. I'll look my notebook and see if I wrote down the code, and I'll put it up here. I'm sure it's all in the news. I'm sure y'all could look it up. The judge was actually pretty decent, I would say. I thought he was funny. I thought he was fair. Actually, the last two judges that I've seen this week were fine and good. The judge there at that courthouse was great. Okay, I won't say great, but he was good. And, the judge in my case in California was good, fair, and had sense. So it's like, wow, 2 for 2, American justice system. Maybe y'all doing something right out here for once. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for honoring your oath to the Constitution. But again, I'm personally, and I didn't say this to Bam because it's always been my opinion. It don't matter what I think. It really don't. If Bam is truly making his own decision, love it, great, wonderful. Not the decision I would have made. I would have said, if y'all going to charge me with a crime and have me pleading guilty to something, you better have a witness sitting on that stand. But then again, the parents were in the court, so maybe they would have been willing to do it. Because see, today was supposed to be the trial. Today was supposed to be the first day of the trial, today. So, I don't know how they was going to have a trial if there was no witnesses. They was going to have to stand up there and read statements. I don't know. I don't know if April and Phil would have been willing to testify against Bam or not. I know, it would have been hard for Jess to, because he wasn't in the courtroom. So, I don't know. I mean, are they going to put bench warrants out for Jess's arrest because he failed to appear as a witness? I don't know. Questions that need answers, in my opinion. But as a consequence of this guilty plea, which is misdemeanor, not felony, Bam is going to have to be monitored in some way over the next 6 months. It was, from my memory, I thought that the judge said he was going to have to do the same thing that he already did the previous conditions, which included that ankle monitor, but also included random drug tests and reporting in with a probation officer and stuff. But I'm not exactly 100% sure. I need to go back and read the transcripts. I was trying to write stuff down as fast as I could, but I was in there for a long time. And it was just a lot of confusion and stuff going on too. It wasn't very orderly. And that wasn't the judge's fault. That was the prosecution's fault. I mean, I don't even think they even knew who was going to be trying the case. One of them was saying they was ready to drop it. One of them was saying they wanted to go for it. It was a fiasco. But what I can say for sure is Bam definitely will be randomly tested and tested for the next 6 months. And I don't think that's fair or right from a legal perspective, because I think the prosecution, if they want to charge somebody with something like that, threats, 4 or 5 counts, 6 counts, however many counts they had at first, 4, they ought to be able to prove their case. I mean, that's just like a basic tenet of the justice system. Who am I? You know, I'm just there to take my notes. Nobody asked me. Nobody paid me. I'm not licensed to practice law in any jurisdiction, and I'm not nobody's lawyer, so I was just there to take my notes. But if you're asking me my opinion, I think it was a little bit stupid that they would even encourage him to plea like that. But at the same time, we really don't know, because April and Phil were there. And I guess they could have just at the last second said, yeah, we're here, we're ready to testify. And then what? You know, maybe Bam would have went to jail. But I've always said it. If Bam does a crime, he should do the time. And I don't mean in somebody's rehab. We hung out after in the elevator and on the way out, and thanked me for coming, gave me a big hug, told me thank you. I mean, as usual, I always hope the best for Bam, and I really just want the man to be able to make his own choices and live his own life. And if that ends up being not the best thing that he could possibly choose to do, that's still his choice. You know, a lot of people probably don't like how I spend my time too, so I'm team Bam till I die. So Bam is free. He's free to go, but is he really free? I mean, that's what I said, I think, when, I was walking out the courthouse just a minute. I mean, I've done my music video now. But is Bam really free? Well, kind of no. And the judge made it clear. He said, if you basically, I'm paraphrasing here. He's like, basically, if you act a fool, you go into jail. And Bam, he said, yeah. And Bam sat there and watched that same judge send people to jail. There was people that went to jail today, at least one person. People that got out of jail, just to come to court. And so the judge even kind of pointed that out to Bam. He was like, this is the 4th, 5th time you've been in my courtroom, and I know you've seen me sending these other people to jail. So I will send you there too if you don't know how to act. He didn't say it like that. He was much more, court talk, court speak. But Bam seemed to understand exactly what he meant. And he was like, yes, sir, Your Honor. He said, I think, this whole thing has been a little bit of, in a way, a blessing in disguise, because it's forced me to clean up my act. It forced me to get on the straight and narrow in a way. And Bam seemed to be looking forward to continuing on with his business and doing what he wants to do. There was like a weird moment in there where the judge was like, okay, the Margera case, let me call this up. And then the lawyers were all kind of like, can we go in your chambers? They stayed back there for like 10 minutes just discussing who knows, with the judge. Maybe 5, maybe 10 minutes. Bam wasn't even back there. And I just felt kind of like, this seems unconstitutional. Like, this is the defendant on the first day of a criminal trial. All his lawyers are having a keep with the judge in the back and the prosecutor. It's just giving ex parte meeting, but not quite ex parte, because the other lawyers were in there. What Bam was sitting out here in the courtroom. And it's like, hold on. That's how we doing stuff in the American legal system, is that we're going to have the judges and the lawyers all go and have a little secret kiki in the back while the person who's on trial doesn't even know what's being talked about during this trial. I don't know. It's weird to me. It was weird to me, to say the least. I don't know. It's where's the transparency in that situation? It's very strange, because I thought the whole point of the public court hearing was that it was a public court hearing. And here they are. Oh, just kidding. It's public, but we're going to go in the back and kiki with the judge. Again, I'm a little bit, I don't know, like, I don't want to always be complaining about something either. Like, I want to find the positives. Positive, he didn't go to jail. It's positive Jess Margera and the rest of the clan didn't show up to continue their buffoonery. That's positive. But it does feel just wrong. These are allegations people clearly weren't willing to cooperate with testifying to under oath. And he's been already under basically like a sort of monitored supervision for months and months and months and months already with this court. And I feel like having him plead guilty to 2 crimes, even though they're misdemeanors, it doesn't really feel like a full win. It doesn't feel like a full win that the court is still babysitting and monitoring whether or not he can have a drink. Again, do I personally think Bam Margera should be out willy-nilly drinking? No. But I ain't Bam Margera, so it's not really my job to decide that for him. And unless your name is Bam Margera, I don't really think you should be allowed to decide that for him. But I guess this is where we live or whatever. The courtroom was very strict. You couldn't even look at your phone. Like, during a recess, during a break, before the judge even came in, like, you can't look at your phone. You can't even look at it. You can't have the phone out and look at it. You got to go outside. And I think that is so stupid. I think that's stupid. I understand, maybe like don't have the phone out in the middle of the court proceedings to distract. But, like, it's just so stupid. We live in a prison. It's stupid. Bam's not going to jail today. And if he acts crazy, too crazy, then he might be going to jail. And I hope that doesn't happen. I'm hoping that Bam is just ready to move on from this, which how could you if you're constantly being tested for the next 6 months? I don't think, if I had to guess, Bam didn't tell me this, but I don't think if I had to guess that Bam probably feels like particularly like 100% free either, because it's random tests. Like at any moment you could be summoned to go get a drug test, and you have to go get one within a certain amount of time, or else you're violating your like whatever probation. It's a sort of probation. I think actually, the more I'm sitting here talking about it, I actually do think it's ridiculous. I actually do think it's ridiculous. I think it's stupid and ridiculous. I'm just trying to find the positives, because I'm just trying to, like, when I go to these court hearings and stuff, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm really not. I'm sitting there being quiet, taking notes. And this goes for Brittany. This goes for this courthouse. Although, again, this courthouse, the people were very nice to me in the courthouse in general. But it's just like, I get this feeling that people are looking at me like I'm like some troublemaker, or like I'm there to like cause some drama. And it's like, I'm really not. Like, y'all are supposed to be doing your damn job. And if you do, then I won't have nothing bad to say. I'm serving a very important function in our democracy. But like, I don't know. It does become hard sometimes whenever you're like literally only doing the right thing for the people, by the people, of the people. I'm there for the people, of the people, by the people, for the people. And I'm trying to tell y'all what's going on in this courthouse. And it's like, I'm getting looked at. And the lawyers are whispering and going, let's take it to the back chamber, and looking at me. And it's like, maybe I'm just being paranoid. But I've now been to a bunch of courts. And it's kind of this similar, like, people looking at me like I'm a common criminal, like I'm doing something wrong by being there and reporting to y'all what's going on. So like, I mean, I try to even be like overt. I think I'm a fair person, but I even go out of my way to be like extra more fair to like the other side. And like, it's still just like, no, like unless you're just completely silent and okay with tyranny and constitutional violations, abuse, and trafficking, then you're the problem child in this upside down clown circus that we are living in, open air prison run by clowns. So, I mean, yeah, like, there's some good news. Some of this is over, but I think it actually more like, as I sat down in this car to make this video, I had a different thought, but now that I'm really thinking about it, it's absolutely bullshit. It's ridiculous. Like, I don't understand who this judge even thinks he is to be, like, at this point, what are you gonna, like, frolicking around, like, taking random tests? It's just stupid. Just let him be done with it. That's what I think. But I'm not the judge. I'm just a girl on the internet. I'm just reporting to y'all what I saw. Again, this judge, fair. So I can't complain too much, because I know there's the ones out here like Glanville, urinal Glanville, who's just, like a total lunatic. So I guess you just, in the open air prison run by clowns, you got to take the wins where you can get them. I'm calling it a win in court today. Jess didn't show his face, which I think is a good thing. April and Phil only showed up seemingly to be some type of supportive and play the victim, which doesn't surprise me at all whatsoever. It's their perfect role. It's the one that they're the most used to playing. And yeah, Bam was literally running away from them at the courthouse. He scooped in the elevator with me real fast while I was going down, and he's like, hiding from my parents because I can't stand them, or something like that. And it's like, so, I mean, he's definitely keeping up his end of the bargain of not having contact with them based on that interaction. Love Bam. I'm going to have Bam's back till I die. Team Bam forever. And that doesn't mean that I don't think he should be held responsible for his decisions and his actions. He absolutely should, as should everybody. That's all I really had for today. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation, and neither is going to a public court hearing. Love you, mean it, okay, bye.
Who you talking to? Cause I know it ain't me. Tried it. Girl. Oh, no, ma'am. No, sir. He's acting like we work for him. He ain't my boss. Oh, mama don't even try to tell me what to do anymore. Since I've been 15 years old, I've been paying my own bills and doing my own taxes. So you need to relax.
I don't work for you. You seem to be very confused. You not the boss of me. You seem to be very confused. If you think that you gon' tell me what to do, 'cause you're not. Oh baby boy, you must be so very confused. Everybody's freaking out 'cause something's wrong with you. And there is something very wrong with you. Something wrong with you.
hurricane. I bring the thunder, I'm dancing in the pouring rain. If you try to fight me, dishonor on your family name. Ooh, I think they like me, world will never be the same. IQ billion, patience zero. Did you ever meet a modern day hero? Hold up, wait, whoa, put the flavor on it. Why you frontin' on me, boy? I'm your daddy favorite.